Hi, if you are wondering how on earth you are going to dress your body now it's menopausal and you've gained weight, then this video is just for you because we're going to be talking about how to feel in control and how to present yourself within a working environment with that going on. So my name's Kate Usher, I'm a menopause coach, and this is the amazing Gail Morgan, the image coach and trainer, and she is joining me today. What she doesn't know about styling isn't worth knowing. So hi Gail, thank you for being here today.
Hi, Kate. It's an absolute pleasure.
Okay, so weight gain. Just before we start, if you want to go back and see the previous video, that was all about hot flushes, the superstar of all menopausal symptoms. But today it's going to be about weight gain. Now, why do we gain weight? Why at this time of life, just when you don't need it, are you suddenly piling on the pounds? Well, there's a biological reason for that, and that is because as your ovaries stop producing estrogen, your body seeks to find it elsewhere, and the fat in your body is very good at producing estrogen. And the fat around your middle is excellent at producing estrogen. So that's why we put on weight around our middle. And for those of us who are apples, it can be very distressing. And for those of us who never put weight on around our middle, suddenly a pawn not a good look. At least it doesn't feel that way. And even if you are taking control and you are going to the gym and you are assessing your diet, which I strongly recommend that you do, you are going to need to get through this phase while you get back to a size that you feel more confident in. So it is about managing this phase and still feeling in control and still feeling professional and still being able to get out there and do your job. Okay, so I think that's enough from me.
All relevant, all really relevant.
So, Gail, I mean, it's so common weight gain at this time of life. So it must be something that so many women come to you and ask about how on earth do I dress a tummy that I may never have had before.
Absolutely. And I would say that that is probably the most often requested element that I get asked when working with menopausal professional women, because they've learned how to dress their body beforehand. I may have worked with them in the past, and we've worked out what suits them, what sort of styles are best for them, and then suddenly they've got this stomach, which, as you say, they've never had before. So if you know you are normally a pear shape or an hourglass shape, you've usually will always have been the envy of your friends for your flat stomach, and then suddenly nothing fits anymore because everything that you used to wear, which was wasted and sort of like showed off your shape, you don't want to go there anymore. So you have to learn a whole different way of doing it. And I can honestly say that this is the most common reason I have women in tears in fitting rooms, because they really don't like what's happened, because it's so different and alien to how they've dressed before. So it's taking it step by step. And really the main piece of advice I would say, which again sounds very logical, but sometimes we're not in that headspace to be able to take that logic, is to avoid drawing attention to your stomach area. So shifting away from tucking things in or from having things that are very wasted or short, but equally not going for a voluminous sack, because that actually is not going to work either. And the most important thing to think about is to look at your vertical proportions. So think about where your horizontal lines are on your body. Now, they can be in all sorts of places, but basically, if we look at someone and we work our way up their body, every time we stop, so there is a horizontal line, we will shorten and widen you at that point. And so what we don't want is to have a contrasting colour or anything that details going on around the stomach area, because the eye of the observer will just look at that area. So look for something which in the stylist stakes we call the column of colour. So you look for a key colour that works through the middle. So that could be a dress, that's easy, you know, just a plain dress, simple colour, done. It could be a top and a pair of trousers or a skirt in the same colour or depth of colour. So it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but the same depth of colour. So that, and then maybe put a jacket or your infamous cardigan or something, or a wrap or something over the top, or another blouse or something. So you could just have a little vest top with something over the top, or the kimono jackets or something. And that just helps pull you up. And if you've got shoes the same sort of colour and, you know, hosiery the same sort of colour, then it just elongates you, and it just helps you look very elegant and coordinated as well. And the focus is taken away from your stomach, because the worst thing you can wear is having contrasting colours at that point. So white shirt tucked into a skirt, it's just going to be there. So it's thinking of slight differences that you can, especially in your professional wardrobe, what you're going to wear to work that you wouldn't have worn in the past. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't come back, as you say, because there is hope at the end of the tunnel. It does shift. I'm living testament to that, so it does happen. But, you know, it's flipping horrible during the time that you're going through it. So it is just about adjusting and maybe looking for things that are slightly looser, but again, not voluminous, because ultimately your shape is still that shape. And even if you're a different shape, it's still keeping it kind of neat and simple rather than volumes of material, which actually only makes you look bigger.
Yeah, and that's such an amazing point to say. I mean, it's so obvious with the white shirt tucked into the skirt. All it does is it draws it, and equally the skirt is probably straining a bit. No, with my trousers, I could barely do them up anymore at my heaviest point. It was they were struggling, and me putting a shirt in there not only made it tighter, but it must have said, "Look here, look." There's much going on, and you know, it's tough, it's hard, it really is, and also it affects your confidence.
Absolutely.
So, dressing to cover that is so important, and I know it's not something when we're sat here on Zoom that we're addressing and that we need to address, but as we obviously we move around, we don't just sit in front of our screens. As we go and do other things, then obviously it's something we need to think about. And it's something on a professional basis, as we all start thinking about returning to the office, that is going to be on a lot of women's minds, because obviously many women will not have been menopausal at the beginning of the pandemic and now are. And others, their symptoms will have developed and their weight gain would have developed over that time, and now they're having to really address it. So if there were some things that you could say to help women during this time while they're contemplating what it is that they might have to wear in order to feel confident when they return to the office, what are your top tips for that?
I would, to start off with, I wouldn't go on a mad shopping spree. I would look at, see what you've got in your wardrobe and take some time for you. Okay, that is the most important thing. Have a really good look through your wardrobe and maybe find things that you'd forgotten about. And it is amazing the sort of beautiful, I mean, I can remember going to this one lady's house and she had the most beautiful coat jacket thing that had been hiding in the back of her wardrobe. We brought it out and her whole face lit up, and we suddenly had so many different outfits that we could create just from this one piece. And because we haven't worn our wardrobe in reality for the last 18 months or so, and certainly not our professional wardrobe, it's worth revisiting. Now, okay, as you say, you might have started to go through all these symptoms during this time, and it could be a bit depressing and a bit annoying, but at least you know where you are. So you're not stuck on that first morning back in September going, oh, what shall I wear today? I'll just pull out that because I know that used to work. And then you go, oh, it doesn't work anymore. So, a bit of pre-planning is absolutely key here.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is to start early, start thinking about where you are, even if, with the best will in the world, if you started a program of, assessing your physique and where it's going, because not only have we got the menopause going on at the point at which we reach 50, if you're of average age of menopause, then your metabolism is also slowing down, so it gets more difficult anyway to lose weight. It's now time to say, okay, then I might have to have an interim approach that will carry me through until I return to where I was, or a more comfortable size, or I'm just going to address where I am now and I'm going to deal with it as time goes on.
Yeah, and it's about buying a capsule wardrobe, but you can't do that until you know what you already have, because you're probably going to be fine with shoes and bags and accessories, but a few key pieces could just help you pull together the things that you do own that you could carry on with. Because, you know, and if it does go on for longer, then again, you can address things in the future and go, right, well, actually, I know this is where I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to be forever, then that's fine, but I need to now address that and go for it. So it's not about beating yourself up or being, you know, I've got to squeeze myself back into that size 12, because no one's going to feel comfortable or good about themselves if you're doing that. And really, you know, sort of there are options out there, and it is possible to do this. So don't, you know, feel that you're suffering in any way. Just find something that makes you feel amazing, even if it is a size or two more than you would normally buy.
Yeah, and I think that to find something that does make you feel confident, that you can, you know, step out and go, yeah, I'm feeling on it, instead of thinking, oh my God, if I move too quickly, the buttons are going to go ping, which is where I was. You know, it is about addressing that, and I think that there is so much that we can do. So obviously, Gail is brilliant, and you can book an appointment to see her and work on your wardrobe, even remotely. And I know you do that brilliantly, Gail. But it is very much about addressing what you have now, what you can do to help you through this process, and maybe just to reassess where you are. And also, you as a woman are changing, so your perception of how you look on the outside and your professional life may have changed. So you could also be in a situation where you are more senior now than you were before. So all of that needs to be taken into account.
It's actually a really interesting and good time to reassess how you want to be seen as well, and take that opportunity and go with it. And it's actually can be quite a fun and engaging kind of transition, if you like.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's today's video. The last video was all about hot flushes, and the next one is going to be about dressing for confidence. So thanks very much, Gail. Thank you so much for being here today, and we will see you soon.
Pleasure.